August 17th, 7:15 a.m. Starting out from the Emmaline Lake trailhead, heading up to Comanche Peak. Upper 40s, beautiful day. I'm not a fan of road hiking, but this certainly is a nice, fast, smooth approach entry into the wilderness area, since we're going to be going off trail up to Comanche Peak. This road is growing on me. We've gone 2 miles in 40 minutes, so it's a great approach. We're going to be going up right up here to Comanche Peak and then following this ridge around and then dropping back down onto the Mummy Pass Trail and come out through here somewhere. About 2¼ miles in, 50 minutes of hiking, we entered this new burn scar, which I think is the Cameron Peak burn scar. And right up here, the Mummy Pass Trail junction, which will be our return route. Yeah, nice new signs, I like those. 3 miles in, and it's still a big ass road. That's more like it. 3.7 miles in, and it's starting to look like a trail. And why is that? Because we are finally entering the wilderness. It's still pretty easy going. We're at exactly 4 miles in under an hour and a half. So we're making good time. It'll be much slower once we get past Emmaline Lake and into the rocks. We're above 10,000 feet. It's starting to climb a bit. I think it might be time to pull out the sticks. Hey, we're back in the boundary waters on a portage. It's nice and lush through here, so I'm keeping my eyes and ears peeled for bears and moose. Almost 5 miles in, there's this large area of beetle kill trees. After going for about a mile of thick green forest. We just climbed 600 feet in about 3/4 mile up to 10,600. We're 5 miles in, 2 hours in. So our average has dropped to 2.5 miles per hour since we hit the wilderness. But I think we're maybe 20 minutes from the lake. Okay, it's officially class 2. Just barely. Just barely. Cirque Lake, Fall Mountain, which we will descend from. We will go along this ridge from right to left after climbing up. I think right up kind of where that cloud is, that little Z-shaped cloud, is Comanche Peak. So we just have to go up over this ridge to Emmaline. And there is our lake. We are 2.5 hours in at Emmaline Lake, scouting out our route. So I think what we're going to do is have a snack, get a little water, because it's going to get warmer, and there's no water above here. Gotta have water. 10 after 10. We're gonna start up. I don't really like those dark clouds, but we'll keep an eye on things. Forecast was for sunny and no rain all day, but we'll keep an eye out. First obstacle, this boulder field. It took 15 minutes to traverse the boulder field. And here's that chute I was looking for. Have to stay on the rock and out of the trees. This Krumholz will kill you. It's thick and wiry and doesn't yield. Our next spot is to get up in here. Agro. Agro! I have about 1,500 feet to climb in a mile. And this rock pile's easier than going through the trees, so I'm going to stick to the rocks. I think traversing up this rock pile makes sense because it's a gradual traverse and those trees are just horrible. I think I just found the grand ramp. So we're at the base of this tundra field, which is much more gradual. The peak is right there in the middle. We're at 600 feet above the lake, and that took just under an hour to go 600 feet of elevation in probably less than half a mile. We're just coming up this last moraine before the summit push. Summit's right there, upper right. Had this nice little tundra ramp here. Overall, it's been a pretty good line, other than being a little low when I first went through the rocks above Emmaline Lake and then getting into the trees a couple times. It's been a good line. Keep hearing rocks coming down that snowfield. It's 11:45. I'm starting my summit push from 12,000 foot mark. It is slow going. Just have to find a path and try and stay off any of this loose gravelly stuff because it is really loose. So stick to the big rocks that seem to be well anchored. I got too far over to the right, so now I'm traversing back to the left to this grassy ramp here. I think that's the route. It's hard. It's steep. It's loose. But I think it might be our off ramp up there. We are so close. This last chute is a bear. It's steep and it's loose, but there's lots of pretty rocks. We'll be hiking out on those flats on the right over there. Yeah, this is one awesome mountain. Right up through there. Comanche Peak, just like any other daunting task, is completed one step at a time, one breath at a time. We just came out of the chute. Now we're looking for the true summit. This is our summit, Comanche Peak. It's 12:30, so that took us 45 minutes for that final push. And now we have a pretty flat walk down. Let's explore up here a little bit first. It is a little scramble to get to the very summit, which is this rock right here of Comanche Peak. It's a very spiky summit. We get this nice flat hike out down here. I think we'll stroll over and take a peek at Mirror Lake. I just came across the Comanche Peak Trail, which is right here, as you can tell by the cairn. No tread at all. I came down from Comanche Peak right there. It took me 15 minutes, but I really need to go in that direction. I wanted to go down to see if I could get a view of Mirror Lake, but this is such a long, gradual slope that it's probably going to take me another 15 minutes out of the way till I can see the lake. So I think I'm going to continue on my path. Time for a second snack. We're just going to head straight across in the middle there, just to the right of that darker lump on the left. Just cross country. That'll give us some nice views back at Comanche Peak, Comanche Spire, and down at Emmaline Lake. But we have to wind a little bit if the trail's not perfectly straight. There's that finger we were shooting for. It's about as tall as me. Let's go up to the edge here to get the view. There's our cliff. We went up. The chute is kind of in that notch. When you look at our route in the distance, it does look quite flat, but when you're walking on it, it's not so flat. So these boots have saved my ankles multiple times today, because it's very easy to turn your ankle on this stuff. Here's a nice vantage point. One of the cliff views. There's the mountain up on the left, the peak. On the lower left is the spire. And then all that green was the ramps we came up through the trees there. You can kind of see the rocky road we followed. It's like a river of rock all the way down to the lake. This one's a better view. The peak right under the cloud there. And then the spire right here in the shadow. And then our route right in that shadow line up the green. Down to the lake. You can actually see that river of rock that we went up, and that's the route. I think maybe that'll be the route next time. Stay out of those trees. I just realized I gotta quit stopping and taking pictures. I'm only about halfway into it and it's 2 o'clock. So I still have to go up over Fall Mountain there, so that's about 2 miles. And then down the other flank to match up with the Mummy Pass Trail. But I still have about 8 miles to go. And at this rate, that'll be a good 4 hours. I've descended 700 feet from Comanche. I'm at the low point, 12,000 feet, and now I have to climb 250 feet up to that dark peak there. That's Fall Peak. It looked like a lot lower than that, but I'm standing here looking at it, so that's nice to put it in perspective. Also, I'm really glad this weather's holding because it's 2 o'clock and I've got a ways to go. I could use a lift right now. Where's Agro? Agro! Agro! Fall Mountain Summit. It's 2:30. That took half an hour. It wasn't as bad as it looked from below. Well, scramble up there. Wow, that is crazy. Yikes, this is no guardrail. We're gonna be heading back down. Look at this chunk of rock. Looks like petrified wood or a broken dinosaur bone. Twisted. So we're heading down there. We have to go over that little peak. We just follow this ridge all the way down. I do not appreciate this bump on the topo map at all. But I have to go up and over it in order to continue down the ridge line to the Mummy Pass Trail. Unless I want to cut down into the valley, it's right down there at the very bottom. Topo maps don't show rock fields either. I think what I can do is I can just skirt it. I'll just flank around it. I don't have to go all the way around the top. I can't believe this. It's like I'm in Shadow of the Colossus. I just keep getting these beautiful ramps that take me down. I can go down this ramp and then back up this ramp and then around. See what I say, these beautiful natural ramps for me. I just hope it keeps going. I'm off the ridge, but things are really rocky and it gets pretty steep down around the corner here. So I think it might be better to switch back this way and head back down to the trail. It's a little steep, but there's lots of good switchbacks. I'm working my way down to that trail that goes past that lake, and you can kind of see it right on the right of the dark green vegetation. It's steep, but there's enough vegetation to hold things in place. If I would have stayed on the ridge, we would have come out over here somewhere. So when we get there, we can look back at the ridge and see which was the right decision. I was very fortunate to find an animal trail because that was getting very unfun. So now I have a nice traverse for as long as it holds out. It was a pretty steep traverse through there. I was getting tired. But now the animal trail brought me to more gradual terrain. Now I just have to skirt down to the Mummy Pass Trail down in the flats there. It's 3:30 and we have made it to the Mummy Pass Trail. Not much of a trail. We're 7 hours, 40 minutes in, a little over 10 miles. And now I think we just have 6 miles to go on trails the whole way. So that should be easier. The original plan was to follow the ridge crest from Fall Peak all the way down to here. But as you can see, that would have been a really rocky descent. This is the Mummy Pass Trail. Quite a wilderness trail. Quite obvious. Here's another good view. Behind that first ridge is Emmaline Lake. We went up kind of that green swath up to that little notch, the bite out at the top. Then we traversed around here up to Fall Mountain and back down. Wow, what a perfect day. This is such a cool trail. So much more interesting than the Emmaline Lake Road. Would I do it again? Well, I probably still have 2 hours and 4 or 5 miles to go. It's going to be something like 15 or 16 miles with 4,000 feet of elevation gain. A lot of it short and steep. Good question. I'll have to think about it. You need a long day with excellent weather. It's hard to get off that ridge before noon unless you start at maybe 2 or 3 in the morning, which would be hard. It'll be about 11 hours total time, so you want to have enough daylight. We're about 1.5 miles from the junction with the Emmaline Lake Road. In this beautiful forest, it's absolutely silent, except for a couple bugs buzzing around. No mosquitoes. Just had a bar because I am feeling pretty tired. So we got about 3.5 miles to go total. Almost there. Emmaline Lake hike. Would I do it again? I don't think so. Considering that more than half of the hike is on this frickin' road, I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze. As I said earlier, as an approach to Comanche Peak or doing other wilderness stuff, then yes. But having 6 miles of road in a 10-mile hike, no.